On a day that should have been all about Erling Haaland making Premier League history, hitting the 100 club in the Premier League and becoming the fastest man to ever do it, the story of today is all about Manchester City yet again looking unconvincing. And if it wasn't for a last-ditch tackle at the end, I think from Guardiola, a last-ditch clearance, that might have been the most embarrassing, the worst comeback in Premier League history, or maybe from a Fulham point of view, the absolute best. That was damn near catastrophic, honestly. You look at the City players' eyes. You look at Pep's eyes as he hugged Silva at the end there. That's a similar feeling to the one that they just had against Leeds. The feeling, we got away with one. City will come out of this game content with the 3 points, but knowing deep inside that this cannot continue. This cannot continue, guys. At one point, Manchester City were up 5-1 in this game after 55 minutes. 5-1 away from home against Fulham, a team that, going into this game, they had the longest ever Premier League winning streak against. They haven't lost a game against Fulham since 2012. 15 games, now 16. So at 5-1 up, you would be forgiven for thinking this game is over. City are going to do what City do, hold on to the ball, pass Fulham to death, and walk away with an easy 3 points. But that's the problem with this Man City team. They are not like other City teams of the past, and it's why ultimately, the way they're playing right now will ensure they do not win the Premier League. This cannot continue any longer because in front of our very eyes, we saw Manchester City relinquish a position of so much power. Goal after goal after goal after goal. Man City have won today's game 5-4. And at the end, it damn near was 5-5. Quite simply, Manchester City are in desperate need right now of an adult in the room. They are in need of an adult in the room because this is a team of very technical footballers. They have great players, no doubt about it. No one can doubt the quality of this team. But like I said at the weekend, there is a severe mentality issue with this team. They don't have a backbone of champions at the moment. It is so easy to see this team just crumble in front of your very eyes at the nearest sight of adversity. We nearly saw it against Leeds, and we were seconds away from seeing it against Fulham tonight. And that has to be a huge cause for concern from Pep Guardiola, who again, last week stressed a need for calmness and bravery from his team, risk-taking. But at the moment, this City team seems scared shitless every single time they get faced against the problem. You look at the quality of goals that Fulham scored against them today, by the way, and it's all the same goal, bar the Emile Smith-Rowe goal, which is really just a wonderful header. Donnarumma rooted to his spot, nothing he can do about it. But you look at the last 3 that they conceded, to Iwobi and to Chukwueze. It's the same kind of goal. They're different strikes, right? But it's all comes from a loose ball in the box, City failing to clear their lines and also failing to really put a body in front of the impeding shot. It happened time after time today. I mean, some of the goals, you're looking at the likes of Bernardo Silva, who's supposed to be an experienced player, by the way, right? He's the leading guy in terms of experience in this team. Been there, done that. I'm looking at Reinders. Poor defensively again today. You have to ask questions about his spot in the team at the moment. I'm even looking at Foden, who had a fantastic game today, but I think he's got to do a lot better on one of the goals. But no one seems to want to take any responsibility in this team. I even look at Guardiola. I look at Diaz. These are supposed to be 2 senior center backs. I know they're not the oldest players, but they're senior center backs. They're players that have won the league before for City. And I don't feel at any moment like they're really taking hold of the situation, bringing everyone around them and saying, I got it. Don't worry. No, in fact, every time opposition teams seem to attack City these days, if it's not for a Donnarumma wonder save, it looks pretty likely that they're going to score. I think the only solution to Manchester City going on with this problem is one man, Rodri. Rodri needs to come back to this team ASAP, and he needs to come back to at least 80% of the true Rodri we know. It can't be the Rodri we saw earlier in the season, who was very clearly not 100% fit for this team. They need 80% of what Rodri used to be. And when he comes back, it shouldn't be Nico Gonzalez who goes out. They need to play the 2 of them together. Forget about 1 holding midfielder, 2 next to them. How do you get Cherky and Foden? Forget about all that right now. Man City needed an adult in the room. That adult is Rodri, a guy who can just kind of come in, get his foot on the ball, kill counterattacks, and just calm everyone around him down. And it has to be next to Nico Gonzalez. Whoever you want to play in front of them, whether that's Cherky, whether that's Foden, whether, I don't know, Bernardo Silva, doesn't matter. Those 2 have to play together in midfield because I'm sorry, this experiment of trying to play Bernardo next to him or trying to get Reinders into the team, or it's over. What I saw today is frightening. Frightening. Now, let's talk about the positives for City. Erling Haaland and Phil Foden. Erling Haaland today made Premier League history by becoming the quickest man to ever score 100 Premier League goals. The record previously belonged to Alan Shearer. Erling Haaland beat him by 13 games. And I have the stats in front of me here. He scored 20 goals in 14 games. 20 goals. Guys, that's usually a tally that strikers hit in a season. He hit it 14 games into his debut season in the Prem. He hit 30 goals after 27 games. He hit 40 goals after 39 games. He hit 50 goals, half a century, after 48 games. And actually, he's behind schedule here because to hit 100 goals, he needed 111 games. He didn't manage to get more goals than games for 100 goals. What went wrong, Haaland? Come on. That's crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. And his goal was taken so expertly well. I mean, it's an incredible finish. One of the great goals from a center forward this season from Erling Haaland. But that's not all. His assists as well today. For me, I call those real assists. He set his teammates up to score, whether it was Reinders or then later on in the game for Phil Foden. And speaking of Phil Foden, Erling Haaland finally might have his running mate that he needs this season. We've spoken numerous times when talking about City this year that someone needs to be able to help Haaland out in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net. Because yes, we know he puts the ball in the back of the net at a historic rate, but to win a Premier League, you can't do it with one guy. And all season long, we've been asking, who is that guy that's going to step up and carry a bit of the offensive load if Haaland has an off day or if Haaland's goals aren't enough? Step forward, Phil Foden. We know what this guy is capable of. PFA Player of the Year 2 seasons back, and we know the season he had last year wasn't good enough. But this year, that guy has come back with a vengeance. And even before this little run where the goals have started tallying up, Foden has put together a great season, playing a bit more of a withdrawn role, playing as more of an 8, dictating play, playing players through, being more of a playmaker, right? But as of late, he's added to that. He hasn't stopped doing it, but he's added to that with that eye for goal that we know Foden has. Foden is a great finisher. That is something I think doesn't get talked about nearly enough. He's a great long striker, right? He has a brilliant strike on him, but in terms of finishing as well too, Foden is a very accomplished finisher, especially on that left foot. And both goals he grabbed today were fantastic. And if City are going to do anything in this title race, he needs to continue this. Because no team in Premier League history has ever won a Premier League with one guy scoring all the goals. You can even talk about Salah last season. Diaz chipped in at numerous points. Jota, Nunez, Gakpo. You have to have guys who contribute. And this year, there hasn't been anywhere near enough until recently. Phil Foden come to the stage. This is the Phil Foden that the country knew and loved a few years back. One of the best talents in the game. I don't care what anybody has to tell me about, oh, he gets coddled by the media. That's a whole other conversation, rightly or wrongly. I don't care what he's done for England. That's a whole other conversation that we'll approach when the World Cup comes along. But I'm sorry, for Manchester City, don't chat to me. This guy is the truth. This guy is the truth. As a talent, I can never question him. And what he did 2 seasons ago to win the Premier League for Man City must always be respected. And I'm actually happy to see him return to this because you guys know me. I want to see the best players in the world play at that level. It doesn't matter who they play for. I want to see the cream rise to the top. And Phil Foden is one of those players. If we can get the Phil Foden on our screens week in, week out, I think that's an addition to the Premier League in total. We want to see the best players in the league, right? We want to see the best players in what's supposed to be the best league in the world. Phil Foden, for me, is in that little tier of players. So I think it's really good to see what he's done this season and the 2 goals he scored today. Very different goals, but I think shows the array that he has in his game, right? He has that incredible letting the ball run across him and then hitting the top corner the way he does. We showed that so many times 2 years ago. But then as well, too, his poaching instincts, his movement, his anticipation at the back post. Terrific goal for his second as well, too. So that is what City need. They need a lieutenant. They need a running man. They need a second in command to Erling Haaland. And that man appears to be Phil Foden. So the 2 of them, look, they can be happy with their performances today. Absolutely. They're going to go home. And I know they're going to be upset because they nearly lost this game or they nearly drew this game. But individually, they can be content. The rest of this team, oh my goodness, man. I can't imagine what Pep is thinking right now. I can't imagine it. The game looks completely won. It's over. 30 minutes to play. The game is in your hands. And you nearly let it slip. One thing I will say about Pep, I'm not going to blame him for the substitutes because these are all great players. The level shouldn't drop off as much as it has when he makes subs. But for me, taking off Nico Gonzalez right after Fulham scored their second for, who was it, Savinho, and then bring on John Stones as well too to make it what, a 5-back. I don't really understand that. I don't understand those substitutions. If anything, I'm taking Reinders or Bernardo Silva off. Nico Gonzalez is the only defensive midfielder fit for you at the moment. How can you take him off? For me, I didn't really like those substitutions, but regardless if I like them or not, the guys who are coming in for City must provide a lot more. And Savinho is a guy that, honestly, this season has really dropped off a level. I know last season people will say, oh, he didn't score that much, but I thought Savinho had some really decent games at times, man. I didn't think he was that bad last year. And if anything, I thought maybe he can grow in his second season under Pep. Everyone was poor at City last year, bar maybe Haaland. But this year, I mean, City must be looking back at the summer where they rejected like 60, 70 million pounds for the guy and thinking, can we go back in time and reverse that decision? Because he looks anything but good enough to play for City right now. He needs to step up his performances massively. Massively. But overall, it's a second consecutive game for City where, despite the result, despite the goals that they scored, despite the 3 points, I think City, deep down, will be very, very upset with themselves at how that game went. Because they were nearly on the receiving end of one of the most embarrassing capitulations that the Premier League has seen. Wow. But hey, at the end of the day, no one's going to think of anything but the 3 points. And that keeps them in the conversation for the title. They're going to now watch the Arsenal game and the Chelsea game, knowing they got the points in the bag. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm not convinced. I'm not going to just look at the points tallies and the table and say, oh, everyone's... The way they're playing right now, I can confidently say if City do not fix up, there is 0% chance that they will win the league playing this way. It's impossible, guys. They have to fix it. Right now, forget about it. You can't sell me on this. Guys, let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on Foden, Haaland, City's defense. Let me know all of that in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys very, very soon. I'm about to do a review on Barcelona, which I just got finished watching as well, too. Peace.